Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming again for the latest episode of Real Estate Talk. I'm Christian Arce, and this is another real estate talk where I talk to fellow Facebook friends and real estate, the lending industry, to give you a different perspective of what's going on in the trenches and share some tips, ideas, opinions from real people, realtors, brokers, lenders, investors, contractors, consultants out there doing it every day, grinding and pushing it through COVID-19 crisis. So please like and share. I would really appreciate it on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Guys, I'm super excited today to talk to my next guest. Today, I think you're really going to like this. He's the legendary Chicago rehabber and the CEO and founder of the Rehab Depot, as well as he has flipped over 1,000 properties as a general contractor and has surpassed 1,000 properties as a trainer and consultant. And now he's also the host of Borderline Inappropriate, his own podcast show that broadcasts on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. And here's Ryan Garcilazo, everyone. Give me one sec. There you go. What's up, man? How are you?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Thank you. Good, good, good. And you? How's the family?
Family's good, bro. Driving me nuts, driving me ape
Yeah.
shit. These kids are just. I have the 5.5-year-old twins that are almost 6,
I
and
know.
they're driving me ape shit.
I know. They're going nuts.
Everybody's
Mine,
healthy.
mine.
Everybody's healthy, but they're driving me nuts.
There you go. That's good. That's what is important. You know, mine's are two. I have two boys, 8 and 10, man, and I know they're being some somewhat bored sometimes, and but the good thing is at least that we had some good weather out there, so we've been able to take some bike rides and stuff like that. So, but and plus, I mean, I haven't really stopped, working. Honestly,
That's good.
as you know, I mean, lending in the lending industry as well. So it's been busy helping some of the real estate investors out there and keep their business running. Just helping them out. So Ryan, let's get to it, man. I'm excited to talk to you because we both have somewhat of the similar path. I've seen your growth over the years, man, and I see you building your brand. And I think it's great. It's really great. I think in a sense during these last few years, social media has exposed us to. All of us to the world, and now I think it's gonna be a great tool to help a lot of people get to this crisis. You know what I mean, including us, because obviously we're not gonna sit here and pretend that we're not affected. Everyone is being affected by this in different levels, and is how you react to it and how you're able to pivot through it, right?
100%, 100%. So, I mean, it's no secret. Everybody knows that I work with the elite investors across the country and internationally, and even at their levels, they're freaking out, right? Even at their,
Yeah.
I say freaking out loosely, but they're worried. They have anxiety, and they have the human nature is we all have anxiety for different reasons, right? And
Right.
I'm a big advocate for quality control and the quality control, and even for myself, I had to go back and look at my business model and say, what can we adjust? That's it. And I hate that word pivot. It's a bullshit word. And
I
anybody
know.
who's listening to this, you guys know I'm raw. We're Chicago 100%. So I'm not
Yes.
going to be anything other than me. And the reality is I'm going to call it how I see it. I base things on fact. And the reality is even I did a quality control of myself, my process, my system.
Hmm.
And the reality was I realized I could just adjust. It took 3 weeks to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
Our company went 100% virtual, and it probably always will be from this point on. So the reality is, that's what it is. And I've been saying this on my own podcast, and I've been saying it to everybody else and all these masterminds I'm a part of. The reality simply comes back to being an entrepreneur first and foremost. So if you're an entrepreneur and you've set your model up correctly, no matter what you do, wholesale, real estate, multifamily, I don't care what you do, who you are. The reality is if you have a business model and you're not flying by the seat of your ass, Those are the ones right now who are flying by the seat of their ass that are realizing, oh my God, we're in trouble because you didn't set up correctly. You didn't adapt. You didn't evaluate, and you didn't mitigate risks as you went along the way. And that's something that I pride ourselves in, because you have to do that as as an entrepreneur at the end of the day. Because right now it's tough for a lot of people. I'm speaking specifically to business owners.
Absolutely, absolutely. But at the same time, I mean, as we were talking earlier, a lot of young people now, obviously, they don't have it everything figured out. We don't have everything figured out. So obviously, it's just hard to for a lot of people to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But at the same time, I think there's a huge difference from the last crash. I think it is that we have a lot of experienced people out there like you, man, willing to share your experience with others to help them see this through, and it's really amazing. And that is what drove me to do these real estate talks in the first place. Live, no filter, no editing, live and raw, like you like it, man.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think most people will respond to full transparency, whether they like the response or not, is their opinion. But true transparency gets the job done. I mean, at the end of the day, right now, there's so many things that people can be doing to prepare, especially the real estate investors, no matter what their niche is within the niche.
Right.
There's so many things they could be doing right now. I mean, get a list of contracts prepared. Get a list of your favorite REO agents prepared across the country, right? Start looking at virtual wholesaling and virtual rehabbing as your future possibility, because that's going to happen. There are so many things you could be doing right now to set yourself up that we've already set up as a business model. So if anybody's listening and you need a list of agents, you need a list of contractors, you need a list of banks and asset management companies, I have them. Why?
Yeah,
because we did it in 08, 09. We probably flipped 400 or 500 houses from 09 to 14 alone, just working with hedge funds. And for you contractors who are listening to this shit, if you're not preparing and lining yourself up with American Homes for Rent, Waypoint, Blackstone, you're being foolish, because that's easy money. Easy money. They literally teach the same model that I do, which is, here's a sheet of work. Here's your project. Here's your budget. Here's your scope. Go get it. Here's your GC fee. And you look at 15% as a GC fee and you go, wait, okay, let me get 15 of those proproperties. All the 100 flips a year. If you don't believe me, look at the awards I have on my wall. Right? That's from the hedge fund days.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I'm saying, is there are plenty of opportunities out there. If you stop, go in a dark room, turn the lights off, have a glass of coffee, whatever it is you do, and sit there and process by yourself, meditate and think quietly, where you can be creative. And then actually write down your notes. I carry notebooks with me everywhere, and I'm an all virtual guy, but I still like to write. And
meditate
everywhere.
Meditate in a creative state of mind. Not in a scared state of mind. Just try to get your creativity, running and showing. But Ryan, tell them a little bit about you, man, and how you got started, so they can kind of get an idea of what you went through in the beginning too, man.
Well, I started in my early 20s. I'm 38. I'll be 39 this year. We've done a hell of a lot in 15 years, man. Many mistakes, thousands of mistakes, tens of thousands of dollars of mistakes. We've gone through lawsuits. We've gone through everything that you can imagine at a high level entrepreneur will have. Yes. And every single thing was a learning curve, and you learn, don't do that again. Over the years, we went from being the property preservation guys in my early 20s. We were doing the lockouts, we were doing the board ups, we were doing winterizations, right? So I know all about that hell, because it's bullshit work and it pays you minimal. Then it goes into the advancement of, okay, well, who's going to do something with this house? And it became, okay, we're going to be the contractors that take on the actual project. Then you're like, all right, well, these houses need more than investors are willing to put in because of the margins. So then you learn real estate investing. And then you evolve into project management. Then you evolve into larger new construction projects. Then you evolve into all these things. So essentially, we started at property preservation, went into contracting, became nationwide project managers. Then we went in consulting. Then we have the online academy. And now we're in the tech space with an app. So when you talk about complete evolution within one industry, that's why I speak the way I do. That's why I deliver it the way I do, with so much passion and conviction, because there's a lot of bullshit out there. And the reality is, a lot of people hold themselves back.
Yeah.
Right. Every single time there was a challenge along the way, from property preservation to contracting, that's a whole different world. That's black and white. And then we went from contracting to project management. That's a whole nother liability. That's black and white. Right. There's no gray to play in. You either do it, you jump off the bridge, or you don't. And then when you go into the online academy, I had to learn about education and building a curriculum and facilitating boot camps. You've come to my camps. To put all that together, it's not like something I knew how to do. I took a shot, did some research, asked some friends in the industry from different states who do it on a mass level. And here we are, right? And then going into the tech space, it's not all me. I got a partner on that app. Why? Because he's an app developer, but I have the model. So us working together, I didn't realize that by me teaching him the game and then him and his team putting it together, I didn't realize how parallel that was. I basically became an app developer. I didn't know that. He's the one who told me, he's like, you're an app developer now because you're showing me how to do this. I said, I didn't know that's what that is. Right. So essentially he's like the GC. It's so parallel. He's the GC that gets
the creator.
Yeah. He's the GC that gets the coders to build the infrastructure and the model within the system. It's the wildest scenario. And we keep evolving and keep learning. And that's why I keep, to everybody listening and those who will listen, there are so many opportunities right now based on mistakes. All along the way, as I was growing from my 20s, remember this, I was making a hell of a lot of money in my 20s, and I was blowing a hell of a lot of money in my 20s, right? I was irresponsible. I was having a great time. I mean, being 28 years old, I wasn't with my wife then. I was having a party, man. I mean, she knew what it was.
Right, don't we all, right?
Yeah. And, at the end of the day, that's a life lesson. I needed to go through all that shit and make that mistake. And blow money and then have to come back and recover and be like, oh shit, it's not fun to come from behind. It's much better to be in front. So got that out the system, making a bunch of contracting mistakes because I wasn't content as a contractor to just do a project and say, okay, let me do this project for $100,000. Great. You mark it up 10, 15%. And then of course there's markups throughout the whole job. Then you realize these investors have no idea. My clients at the time, they have no idea about budgets anyway. So at the end of the day, I was always the bad guy. Great, whatever. So I was like, you know what? One of these days, somebody needs to teach you guys for real. It's not about investing, right? It's about rehabbing if that's what you choose to do. You need to learn construction because it's not always the contractor's fault because he's making money. He knows how to make money. That's his industry. So I decided to start teaching that. And again, that was a different process to go from adversary to advocate. And like I was saying to you before, man, there's still people in Chicago that don't like me. Hi, haters. I don't care.
Right. Well, we all have it. Absolutely. We all have him. And I agree with you with, the contractor side of it. I mean, I went through education. I was in the real estate industry before I started investing in 2010. But I did go through education. I had to re-educate myself and learn a lot more about, fix and flips and wholesaling and all that jazz. And obviously it served me very, very well. But one of the things that we completely missed on that education was the construction side of it. You know what I mean? And of course, in the beginning, you rely a lot on a lot of contractors, and unfortunately, a lot of them you don't know them in the beginning, and a lot of stuff gets screwed up.
Well, let me ask you this: I'm all about giving out lessons. Let me ask you this, Christian. You're an investor. You call me, right? Do you honestly think, right? And not because you know me, but because the way I am. Do you honestly think that you could hire me and not know me and compete with what I know, and then try to manage me? No, of course not. And that's the problem across the industry the past 10 years alone. A lot of investors were coming out of all these programs. Fortune builders, we're not whatever, home investors. I'm not knocking any of those programs. We're actually a value add, which is great. But at that time, I was like, you guys don't understand construction. You can't manage me. You don't even know what the hell's happening in that living room right now. And that's where I said, listen, there's a barrier of education missing here. Maybe we could become that bridge. And that's what we did. But that's the question is lesson number one, you can't manage what you don't know anything about. Number two is if you're going to hire a contractor, you should know what contractors do. If you're going to hire a contractor, you should know how contractors make money. Right?
I think it's one of the most difficult parts in fix and flip properties because honestly, I learned the rest of it. I learned how to raise money. I learned how to find the property, how to fund the property, how to market the property, all that stuff. You know what I mean? But the contracting side was the most difficult one because you have to deal with a lot of people and unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that have nothing to lose. So, at the end of the day, if you're not able to manage them,
there are those, Christian, but at the same time, I've had the experience where I've worked with couples that have divorces on the table, and now I can't get any responses for them as a contractor. I'm like, all right, so this shit's going down here regardless. I have investor clients in the day that didn't even have money. They've been borrowing everybody else's money. They don't even know how to manage money, so the draws were coming in, but yet it's our fault. I have clients that would never even show up to a property when we had meetings, so I couldn't relay communications that I needed at the time. Alas, that's why I created an app. But my point is, all these experience, trust me, you don't think that contractors are going through that right now. It goes both ways, man.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
just be the
absolutely.
investor saying this contractor sucks. If you don't know what he does, you have no right to say that, right?
Right.
If you do know what he does, okay, you can say he sucks, but where is your leadership on that? Why aren't you bridging leadership and having meetings and saying we need to isolate this issue?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
as a project manager, every
Yeah.
investor is a project manager, whether you like that or not. That's your choice.
Right.
All you real estate agents out there that decide to work with investors, you indirectly are their help. You might as well learn that process of project managing rehabs if you're in the rehab space, because your client could use your help, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day,
Absolutely.
you indirectly are a part of the process. So you have to learn where you fit, how you fit, and learn how to actually lead people, because your contractor does need you more than they'll ever admit. Remember this. When you're an investor and you buy a property, you hire, right? You're bidding and lobbying and hiring a contracting company. A general contractor's job is to manage subs. They may more than likely are not actually on the job site. You're basically hiring a project manager, but more than likely you're hiring a C-level project manager. So you need to be a better a better A-level project manager.
Right.
The key to this ultimately is that when you're looking at a project, fundamentally, you need to be able to assess risk from day one. You need to be predictive and proactive in assessing any issues and turmoil along the critical path of project management. Now, some of you scratch your head because I just blew your fucking mind with what I just said. And that's the truth. If you're scratching your head with what I just said, it's because you don't know enough.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's the key, guys.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, that's some really great bombs in there for the new guys.
It's gonna be the Ross podcast.
Absolutely.
You're gonna go to church when I'm done with you.
Right. Listen, so your business obviously has evolved over the last few years, like you were saying. Where were you before this whole COVID crisis was started? Where were you in regards of, were you doing more consulting, out of 100% of your business per se? Were you dedicated more towards the training, consulting, or management, or your own deals? Where were you at that time?
Good question. So going from 19 into 20, we were going virtual anyway.
Right.
This COVID played kind of into our wheelhouse. We study construction more than people realize. Even though I'm not physically in construction anymore, and I haven't been for a number of years, we consult construction nonstop. I would say in the last 5 years, we've consulted over $250 million in real estate assets across the country. I've worked with clients that do 200 flips a year in different cities and different markets, and they have massive corporations with employees and staff, which means they have a system, a process, and a model, which is much different than when I was contracting with the one-off owner-operator fortune builder, if you will. So we gravitated to the high levels of working with these companies and corporations where we could see at a high level where the issues are. And now we put a process in. And then when you're up here at the sophisticated level building a model, it's so much easier to hand it off now to the owner operator and say, hey, listen, guys, you're just missing a couple pieces. So 19 to 20, we were transitioning into going more virtual boot camps. I still love doing physical boot camps because you've been doing them. I love to touch you guys and engage you guys and get you guys moving. That's my passion. But we were also, my partner and I were building this app a year and a half ago. We knew that we needed a true rehab project management app just for this game. It's not about acquisitions. It's not about the calculators and things like that. Sure, those pieces are elements to the app, but ultimately it's about project management. How do you communicate with the office to the field to the office, and vice versa? And tracking those KPIs, right? Key performance indexes. So how many changers, what are they costing you? How much time are you losing? Scheduling, slippage, floats, all these things you need to track. Our system will do that for you. So we were going that route. And it just so happened that I would say maybe towards the end of February, my partner texted me, he goes, dude, I think the app's almost ready. And I said, holy shit, we didn't know anything about COVID yet. I was like, no shit. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So that was allowing me to step back now to really focus on the tech world, because I'm not a tech guy. I'm very savvy with technology, but I'm not a tech guy. So I was like, I better start learning about who the competitors may or may not be, who the game players may or may not be, just who are the organizations like masterminds and things like that nature where these kind of people go, because I'm going to have to start going there. What expos should I attend? Because I'm going to have to start going there with this app. And then COVID hit. And I said, all right, well, 90% of our academy was online. I still facilitated a lot of classes like this. I said I can continue doing that. So we literally kept all of our academy classes online. I added probably 9 or 10 virtual boot camps for this year. I still have my we had in April, we were supposed to go to Disney World for my boot camp. It was a
Oh man.
huge accomplishment, man. I had this thing lined up. We made a deal down there with the boathouse on Disney Springs, and then boom, all restaurants are closed naturally. So now
Oh
that
wow.
Disney's actually, and I'm still paying attention, Disney's reopening slowly on May 20th. I'm like, boom. I've already sent an email to my people. I said, listen, I want to come back down there in October if you guys are in whatever phase 2 or 3 by then.
Right.
And I still want to throw this boot camp. So that's all it is adjusting. But I had the model that was already pretty much online.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying is I was already preparing for this long before. And I guess at the end of the day, that's probably what's really saving us, if you will, because we were prepared for something that we didn't foresee coming anyway.
And with your consulting side of it?
And the consulting side, well, here's the cool thing about that. So we have clients all over the country that I would fly in, fly out, things of that nature. I was doing a lot of online training like this. And then I used a different app to communicate so I could actually log into their portfolio. I could monitor what's happening. I could watch when their clients were talking. I think I shared that with you guys at camp.
Right.
I already had that going. So all it was is the only difference in my consulting now with all these high level investors is I'm just not physically going there yet. I'll probably go there and visit their sites in the fall, but I can still keep doing what I'm doing because I was technically virtual already.
Well, I mean, as you know, all investors are going virtual now for a while. It's much more easy today. I'm one of them, actually. You know, since Illinois decided to get into our pockets some more last year, you know, I started, you know, reaching out to some of the people that I know in other states, you know, down south in Florida, Texas, Phoenix, and even Georgia. So, so yeah, definitely. I mean, now the tools are there, and it's much more easier to be able to do virtual stuff, and a lot of different things. You know, we're talking about wholesaling. Fix and flip is a little bit more difficult because you got to have boots on the ground per se, right? But that is something that I got to talk to you about because you know we have some people ready to go that I'm actually right now holding them back and say just hold on a little bit, just let's wait for a month or so just to get the things packed and running for flipping. But obviously I got to talk to you about that and on doing some of that stuff virtually down there. But at the same time, I mean, there is so many other things that you can do. I mean, that's one of the great things about, you know, the education that I took, that it was, you know, basically we were able to learn about all these different strategies. Then now, you know, you can jump from one to the other when situations like this happen and you have to adapt, right? So like when you're fixing flipping properties or when you're wholesaling a property, you're not able to wholesale the property, then you can turn it into a fix and flip. And then, you know, if you're in the middle of fix and flip and something like this kind of, you know, you get caught up on a situation like COVID now, and you're not able to sell your properties, then you can jump into rentals and something different. Of course, you know, the economy now makes things more difficult, but there's definitely a lot of other strategies out there that can be implemented when things like this happen.
There are. You know, I think a big thing that's overlooked, again, back to being an entrepreneur, right? Being a business person is leverage. You have to be able to know how and when to leverage people, right? This is the
key word now.
Key time right now. And you don't think, if you guys, excuse me, don't think I've been leveraging, of course I have. At the end of the day, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, look at government. What do you think that is? It's all backdoor deals and backdoor conversations.
Right.
It's called leverage.
Absolutely.
Whether you agree with it or not is a different story. But my point is that's what they're doing. They're leveraging other things, relationships. They're creating a win-win. Well, for them, legal or illegal, that's different. But my point is I'm talking with people in certain spaces or in certain markets. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. I probably left operating in the Chicago market 100%. I probably left that back in maybe 14, 15. I was transitioning out of that. I haven't done a deal in Chicago in probably 5 years.
Wow.
To be honest with you, because we've been in Florida, we've been in Arizona, we've been in Texas, we've been in California, we've been in St. Louis, Michigan, and Columbus. I mean, we've been all over, man. And you kind of go where the journey takes you. It's a journey. And then you realize the perspective. And I've always said this to a lot of people. I might even said this to Matt Messick. He was on my podcast, and I said I told him I admired him for watching him grow. And I said he's got a long way to go because it's a good journey. He's done well for his young age. He's got so far to go. It's going to be awesome to watch, and I'm proud of him. And the reality of that is, I said you got to leave your meetups. You got to leave your little core group. You got to leave all these places you hang out with local people because you're never going to grow. Get the hell out of that shit. Go to a different city, make some more friends, and you're going to get some really major perspective on the industry as a whole. You're going to start learning about market share. You're going to start learning about you're going to meet people that have incredible numbers. And you're sitting there going, oh my God, that's crazy. I can't believe this guy actually does 197 wholesale deals a year in 9 states. Blows your mind. You're thinking, how do I do that? So that's what I'm saying is get out of your bubble. This is the time to get out of your bubble and leverage. Start reaching out to the people like you did with this, right? You texted me and said, would you come on my show? And I said, I'd be more than happy. The reality is leverage people, right, that add value to you and in return add value to them.
Plus, I mean, we continuously learning. I mean, even though, we've been on this game now for 10 years or over 10 years. And, we learn every year something new. And last year, we've been looking at virtual stuff for the last 2 years because mainly, we saw that the market in Chicago was kind of slowing down in the last 2 years. And I was more in the luxury market and that was very slow. And the thing is that, we were seeing that the amount of people that were moving out of the state, you know what I mean? So we're losing people every year. And, the states in Texas, look at Texas, Phoenix, Florida, all the southern states are gaining population every month. So that's why there's still,
you know what? Florida's going to gain this family too. We're out of here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of people thinking of the same way. I mean, there is so much opportunities now in Florida too, and Florida I know a lot of investors out there too. I have a pretty nice group out there of people that I know that were constantly investing, and they were already investing outside of Florida just because the market was kind of weird in the last year or so, but now it's going to reactivate all those guys and start, buying again. They can't wait to get out there and start buying again.
Without question. I mean, Florida's a fantastic market anyway. Tampa's phenomenal.
Right. Always.
The reality is, right now, the only state, again, whether you agree with them or not, that's almost fully open is Florida. I mean, look at sporting events. UFC's gone there, and they've thrown 2 events on in 4 days, 3 days, right? That says something. I think the governor offered an invitation to all sporting, to NBA, Major League Baseball, and says, if you got teams local, bring them to Florida, we'll put them on. Think about how that changes everything, right?
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with real estate investing. This has everything to do with business and economy. That's insane where one state is trying to monopolize that. Think about that.
So big companies are moving out. Yeah.
Yeah, but what if some of these major organizations actually take them up on that offer? And things start working out, all of a sudden you're like, well, this wasn't so bad because we're forced to do it. You might say, well, we figured it out. It might change the dynamic of sports forever, is my point.
Absolutely.
The dynamic of having an office now. Who needs an office? It's nice. That's ego, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I was talking
to a long time ago. I've been working from home for years, and I'm sitting there going, I could never get an office again. What's the point? I'm in my basement. Right. I set all of my stuff in my basement. I have a studio down here, an office down here. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. I mean, that's all you need. And the thing is that, look, I saw yesterday on the news that Twitter is going all the way virtual now. They're not gonna get their employees back in the office. So they're going completely working from home.
I read that too.
I talked to a friend yesterday from a mortgage company, a local mortgage company here in Chicago, a big company. And now, half of their employees are working from home. And now they feel more comfortable continuing that because now they don't need as much space. They can see that they can save money on office space. And being able to, they saw that their employees were still effective, working from home. So I mean, it's a whole new thing. It's just opening a lot of other doors out there. So
well, think about this, man. Going back to the investment side, you're working from home. What are you going to do then? Virtual.
Absolutely.
Right? How do you leverage virtual? It's not as difficult as you think, right? To virtual wholesale is not an impossible task. I know guys that do hundreds of years, a company, right? They have agents on their side. Virtual rehabbing, Matt Messick and I'm not dropping his name, but the reality is he and I discussed this in detail about virtual rehabbing, and the model works.
Yeah, I have him on Monday. Real. Monday's going to be here with me too.
Tell him that shit works.
Absolutely.
Be like that crazy son of a bitch went after it. That's me. That's what I did. We talked about it. Matt actually, and I give him kudos because he and I had a call a few weeks back, and we talked about just the virtual wholesaling model in general. Right. And I sat there and I took notes and I said, there is a point at which you can then go into a virtual rehab, should you want to. Yeah. And then I pieced together what that model would look like with boots on the ground virtually. Telling you, man, that's going to be a huge niche for those. But here's the deal. Don't ever get into virtual rehabbing if you can't even physically rehab locally.
You gotta go through the experience locally first to see the ups and downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That you gotta go through first. Otherwise, I mean, you can't deal with that stuff from 2,000 miles away. I mean, it's so definitely you have to go through the experience locally first, and then you can jump into virtual.
You got to get punched in the mouth a couple times. Literally, right? You got to go there and get punched in the mouth a couple times. Do not point blame when you get punched in the mouth. That's part of your learning curve. Okay? Yeah, you have to get punched in the mouth, so you have to build a chin, right?
And he's not.
It doesn't hurt.
It's not that you're smarter or not smarter. It's always about when are you going to get punched in the mouth? Because one of the things that I was proud to say it in the beginning of my investing side of it was that I always said, I never lose money. I never lose money. I never lose money until I lost money. Right. And then when I lost money, I was like, I went in deep, backwards. I started walking backwards because I felt so ashamed of it. But I mean, it's not about, it's your own mistakes. You got to own your own mistakes. And at the same time, it's just about when it's going to happen to you. It's for sure it's going to happen. So you just have to see when it's going to come. And I think it's mainly when you, you're feeling too comfortable with the situation, and that's sometimes you make mistakes with that, and
that's absolutely true. You need to get that experience. There's a big difference between experience and education. Huge difference.
Yeah.
Right? Experience is very, very important, but you also need to be innovative off that experience. Use that as a diving board, springboard, right? That experience will teach you to look at something twice and go, not for me, right? Like taking down a deal. Then you continue to evolve. Going to seminars, going to boot camps, surrounding yourself with the people who have numbers or whatever it is your desire is, whatever your why is, that's your business. But whatever it is, surround yourself with those people that have it. And then surround yourself with that and ask yourself, how do I get that? What did you do to get that? What is your system? What was your process? And when you're adopting little bits and pieces of people and pieces of their process and system, and you add that to yourself, you're building yourself up. That's where the innovation comes from.
There is something very true in that there is an identity on you as an investor. And, you're not, I try to wear many, many hats at the same time. And you can do that. You just have to look for the people that knows how to do those things better than you.
But at the same time, there's so many,
And then from there, just, start building your own team and be able to leverage that too. I mean, because otherwise you start making mistakes,
Absolutely. I mean, again, it goes into leadership, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes investors will go into they'll enter this arena, if you will, this industry, if you will, but this isn't strong enough yet.
Right.
And that's why taking a punch in the chin a couple times is going to eventually make you a little bit more physically strong.
Yeah, sometimes take you out. Sometimes it takes you out. I mean, definitely.
It does take you out.
A lot of people were telling me, "Hey, are you gonna go do something else now, or what are you gonna do when you lose one? They look at you at the your losses instead of your winnings, right? So, and but I have few of them only. You know what I mean? And yeah, sometimes you walk backwards a little bit, but then you get ready again and you go back at it. You know what I mean?
Without question, there's a huge way of looking at that, right? Make mistakes, but make them high-level mistakes. Make them big mistakes.
Yeah.
Not small, tedious mistakes. Those are hurdles, challenges.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about.
I made were monstrous mistakes that cost me a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and more importantly, it cost reputation for time period.
Reputation, relationships.
At the end, people are going to perceive what they want to, right? Yes. You can't change that. That's on them. So don't think about that shit. That's why when you see our social media, great content, nonstop, right? I can't care what people are going to perceive. I have to continue marketing. This is the time to double down. Market. You know, if I market as hard as we do, and I get a nice market of people that just can't stand me, like I'm tired of seeing this guy, unfriend me, don't follow. But the interesting thing is they're still following, they're still friends.
Right.
It's not about the likes and the hearts. That's where people get caught up emotionally. It's like nobody likes my shit. Oh, you're being a baby about it. It's about the thousands of people who have watched it over and over and over again who didn't comment on it.
Absolutely.
Master that.
Ryan, so you started your own podcast too, which is awesome, man. And you've been talking with some very active investors in your show. So tell me a little bit about what they've been the consent with in general with them. What are some of the steps that they're taking to go through these things?
Well, on my show, we have very high level guys that have a big organization, and I invite them on my show because I want to learn from them as well. Right. So I put them on a pedestal and say, tell me and the world, what the hell do you do and how do you do it? And so I've had guys who are in the nursing home arena who invest in homes, turn them into apartment complex or apartment units, if you will, suites, if you will. It's very, very accommodating. And it cash flows 40, 50, 60,000 a month. Right. And they don't have any COVID going through there at all because they have one nurse for 4 patients, where a nursing facility has one nurse for 30 patients. Think about the logic in that. And then I've got guys who come on who are kings of storage units, right? And they talk about how that's going to transition in the next 10 years. You know, they start showing you things from a different perspective. You know, most of the people that you and I probably know locally are all about single family. That's fine. But this is a good time to start looking at a different strategy within real estate investing. I'm not saying don't look at family. I'm saying look at storage units. I'm saying look at other opportunities out there and start learning now what that's like, because those opportunities present themselves. Point in case in point. You know, by 2030, 65 and older, baby boomers will all be 65 and older. What does that tell you? Right? They're going to be looking to unload their house, get rid of their money, right? Who's behind them? The millennials, right? Millennials are notorious renters. That's a weird shift. So think about what's going to happen in the next 20 years. There is a lot of opportunity, regardless how you look at it. So if you're a buy and hold investor, you've got a whole nother generation who just loves to rent. And that's what I'm saying. You learn this from all the guests that come on. And, you know, I've got guests that talk about multi-units who, you know, they have $92 million in assets that they own. I mean, imagine that, saying, what's your net worth? Almost 100 mil. And a dude talks just like me every day, having a coffee, no problem, right? That's the cool thing about our network, is that I want to learn, okay, 92 million in assets. How the hell did you do that, dude? How long did that take? How does it work? And they share it. Because just like you, it's about the viewer listening and learning, being inspired, one foot past the other, head down, keep looking forward.
But that's what's amazing for, you know, the young people now. I mean, they really have a huge advantage, you know, listening to all these people with a lot of experience, that they're willing to share that with everyone. You know what I mean? That we didn't have that back in 2008. You know what I mean? I was looking at the sky, and I didn't know which way to run, honestly, at that time. You know, I had to.
That's okay.
Yeah.
If you've never gone through it, how would you know?
Right.
That's exactly it. You know, that was the first major one I'd ever gone through as an adult, right? So I was like, and as a business owner. So what I did is I pivoted immediately. I said, who are the buyers? Who are the biggest buyers? So I looked at my client box. Who's my client box? I said, hedge funds. Made friends with all of them. Tried to do the best I could. But what did I do more importantly? I learned how the biggest hedge funds in the world operated at the management level, at the system level, at the process level, and created my own. Because I learned that was the best education I've ever received in this entire industry, in my entire career thus far, was learning and mastering how the hedge funds operate. Little old me, who was just doing a few flips a year, rehabbing, turned into this, right? Because I continue to learn from the people that are doing it at the highest levels. Whether I like them or not is a different story. That has nothing to do with it. Money's not emotional, so I don't get emotional over money. Think about it. I learned from who was doing it. I'm like, well, how can I study that? And then how can I take a little piece of that, put it into my business, implement it, execute it, right? Because you've got to be a visionary and an integrator to some degree. You really have to be both when you choose to be an entrepreneur, especially in this game. If you choose not to, you're doing yourself a great injustice, and you're gonna get hit in the jaw financially, right? You have to understand the vision and how to execute that vision. And a lot of times it comes down to delegation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can go on and on. You can fire me up, and I'll go on and on.
So yeah, well, how do you think that you can, obviously through everything that we've been talking about, how do you think that you can help some of these investors that may be in trouble today? What do you would tell them?
Study the opportunity that's out there right now.
Hmm.
If you think rehabbing is dead, you're definitely naive to that
Yeah,
aspect.
no,
What do you think is going to happen in 2021? All the foreclosures will finally hit the market, right? I learned this. I had Bob Floss on my podcast, and we talked about the circuit courts and the system on that. Learn something new, right? And he was saying something that I thought was completely relevant. He was saying that if you think about all the foreclosures in the circuit courts up until COVID, prior to closing the courts, that they had a backlog on. Now all the forbearances and deferments and all these things that are happening eventually will subside, and you're going to have to start paying your mortgage again.
Right.
But more importantly, those people that still have no job because the unemployment rate keeps skyrocketing, they may still not be able to afford it 6 months down the line. Eventually, will foreclose. So all you're doing is prolonging the inevitable. There will be foreclosure, right? Get ready for that. So what does that mean? That means study rehabbing, right? Because you're going to be able to get distressed properties lower again, right? There might not be the millions that there was in 08. Who knows? As long as unemployment queue is going up, there's going to be a shit ton of opportunity, right? What do you do now? Learn and study that. Keep reading about that. Learn what the hedge funds are doing. I posted on my social media a couple nights ago that Chase just gave American Homes for Rent $625 million. What do you think that's for? To go back into the market and buy up all the properties again. Think about that logic. So that tells me, man, if I wanted to open up a construction company all over again, I could do that overnight, right? Because I already have those relationships. I say, hey, do me a favor, throw me 10 properties, give me a month, let me set up. I mean, that's what it's called. That's what it's all about when it comes to building relationships. But I'm pre-planning. I'm trying to forecast and study. So to answer your question about what can investors do now is start learning what's happening with what you like to do. If you're a single family investor, track the single family marathon here. What's happening? Wait for the foreclosures. Start trying to isolate money, right? Start being a little tighter on your money, but learn, because there is a process to rehabbing. When you buy a foreclosure and they turn off all the utilities and the water is taken out of that property incorrectly through poor winterization, you will be responsible holding the buck. And your budget will be shot 100% when all the copper starts popping, when you repressurize that. So what do I say? 1, learn about property preservation. 2, learn about the basics of rehabbing. And 3, learn project management, because next year's gangbusters for everybody. And you don't want to be learning it next year when everybody already learned it.
Right.
Because you're going to be at the back of the line going, damn, I wasn't ready. Get ready. If you think right now your peers across the country are not getting ready, let me tell you how many people we have signed up in the recent month learning. The numbers are nuts because they know what's coming. They're getting ready and prepped. Absolutely. People I've never even heard of that do great numbers. I said, they're going, wow, I didn't even know you existed in Massachusetts. That's pretty cool. right. Oh, it's like, all right, well, let's take your weaknesses and build upon that. That's the key. Study your niche and take your weaknesses and start springboarding off that, man, because guys like me aren't waiting. I'll tell you that. Guys like me are chomping at the bit, just waiting for that evolvement.
And I would say learn and take action right away. And practice. Learn and practice. Don't wait to know everything. You know what I mean? Just learn and start applying right away. That's my mojo all the time. So I don't really wait to know everything. I just start doing as long on the way that I'm learning new things.
That's fantastic. That's the best thing. I'm proud of you, Christian. That's the best thing you could be doing is continue learning. Don't discount yourself. Don't close a door, an opportunity on yourself, right? No. Leverage people that are doing it or have done it or have a process, right? I still have friends that are in the asset management industry that I'm continuing to learn from. I'm like, all right, just in case, how long is that process before you can say, okay, we need property? I'm learning some of the things that I may have forgotten 10 years ago because I haven't done that as a core competency in a decade. So a lot of it is also just refreshing, right? So speaking of that, everybody knows I work with mostly the elite, mid-level to elite. I created for the first time an intro to rehabbing class. I've never had that. I've never put that out. So on June 1st, I have that one. We'll see how it goes, but I'm going to be opening it to anybody now. People who have no job, people that are unemployed, people that have the 9-to-5, people that are just tired of this. I'm like, come learn rehabbing. Why? Because it's going to make you're going to create 2 choices when you look at this class. 1, you're going to know if it's for you or not. And 2, you're going to be able to say, okay, I have a plan of what I need to learn based on what I don't know. And that's something that we're doing as well. We're going to accommodate the novice. We're going to start teaching those that think they know, or maybe even wholesalers. That have been wholesaling.
I have another platform that I'm looking to relaunch now, which is, I don't know if you heard of it, but I mean, I owned the fixandflipguy.com, and that we've been thinking about definitely putting something together. And my thoughts, to be honest with you, when I think about construction, you're the first guy that pops up in my head. So I mean, I will definitely throw you some ideas to see if we can do something with that. Just
you could probably do a white label partnership with the app, where the app's available and they can learn project management through the app. Because actually, we're sprinkling education throughout the entire app. You'll be able to click on a Roddy head, and a 30-second video will pop up about how to write the right scope. And then if you're doing a budget, a Roddy head. So you'll always have access. So it's going to be pretty robust. But my point is, whatever you want, brother, I got your back.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan, where do you last thing? I mean, where do you want to take your business to? What are some of your goals for you and your business in the next, in the next few years? Just tell us a little bit about your big dreams, man. I mean, I know you have some.
Yeah, I do. All right. So what's going to happen? My goals of what's going to happen. I'm probably going to miss a couple because they're upstairs in my other office on the board.
Absolutely.
Within 2 years, my family and I will be living in Florida permanently. Within 2 years, our app will be licensed or bought out by Apple or Microsoft. Within 2 years, I would say one of the other goals that we had was I'm just thinking because I've been so heavily mindseted into this technology now, and I've been studying that more than anything.
Right.
In 2 years, what's going to happen is anything you're going to need is going to be automated for us. You want consulting, it'll happen through the app. All of our camps will be held through the app. Okay. So that's why I'm saying, I'm thinking, but everything I want to do is going to be accomplished. It's going to be accomplished within that app. So basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to take everything I've ever done, and it will be available through the app on top of being able to project manage you. So our app not only helps you project manage projects, and track all that, but it also teaches you indirectly how to project manage by following the tasks. So
hey, maybe next, maybe in a 10X conference, man. Right,
dude.
In the future,
one of these days, and it probably won't be in 2 years. You never know. I never thought about it, but if I were to think about it, I'd like to be on stage, like at a 10X conference. I'd like to be on stage, next to, or at least on a roster of the top 5 speakers in the country, because this isn't difficult. This isn't difficult when you know what you're doing, right? And you have a persona and the ability to lead, and you have reckless abandon when it comes to anxiety and fear of what others think of you. You are completely free.
Yeah, I can see you up there, man, for sure.
We'll see if they ever let us on the quarantine.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know you're busy too, so I mean, I'm gonna. I really appreciate you coming on, man. I really enjoyed it.
I hope I gave you some love.
You're a wealth of knowledge, and mainly, for your experience, man, and you're well connected with a lot of people out there, around the country. They're doing big things in real estate. So definitely, you're someone to follow, man, to learn from.
Anybody listening out there, reach out to me. It's not hard. Ryan at the rehabdepot.com. Come follow me on Instagram at Legendary Flipper. Anytime you have a question, you could schedule a free consultation. We'll talk about your problems. I can connect you with who you need to be connected with. And that's the key. Leverage if you can. And right now I'm completely open to being leveraged, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Reach out to the big players, because they're all willing to share their experiences. So definitely, this is a great opportunity to do that. So Ryan, thank you very much again, man. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you coming. Hopefully,
I hope your show blows up, bro.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I mean, it's not a matter of that, but I mean, we're going to continue to do it. We're going to continue to bring people on and kind of help everybody out. And I have some other ideas where this can evolve to, because, I definitely, it's been something that didn't been in the back of my mind for a long time. And I just kept kicking the can down the road, and I didn't do it. But I have some good, ideas of where I want to take it. So definitely something that I don't know what it was, but I was kind of afraid of doing it. And one day I say, well, let's do it, and I just started contacting people. I couldn't get back after that. After the first one say yes,
it's a big move. It's a big
right,
step and a big move. Like
right,
right now, and
absolutely.
I'm being honest, it's a very big step and a big move. And here's why. When you put yourself out there like that, you're going to leave yourself out there for criticism, right? That's
Absolutely,
why,
yeah.
as your peer, as your friend, as a leader, right? I'm telling you, leader to leader, you're in a situation where you're going to become influential now because you're putting yourself out there,
Right.
right? So be cautious and careful, right, about who you do have on your show.
Right.
Be cautious and careful about some of the topics you talk about. Make sure you stay to who you are, right? So, for example, I'm raw and bold. I'll always be that way. So my podcast is borderline inappropriate because it's letting you know if you come on, it's borderline
Right.
inappropriate. We're going to talk some
Yeah.
shit. But the reality is, I want you to own this space. Now that you've
Right.
done this, don't sleep on the fact that now you're becoming an influencer. People will start
Right.
looking at your show more. You're going to start getting more and more views. So be very, very aware of that. And more importantly, leverage this platform. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Share
absolutely.
share your knowledge and your experience with people, man. Leverage this platform and make sure you're different than anybody else.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I
You
really
can do it.
appreciate it, man.
You can do it.
I'm going to put a slide here with your information so people can know how to get in touch with you. I'll put all your social media and your websites here, man. So,
Thank you.
and again, hopefully we can do it again soon, man. Okay.
Anytime, brother. Just let me know. I got your back.
Awesome. Thank you very much, man. I'll see you again.
Have a good day, brother.
All right, guys. So, that was Ryan, wealth of knowledge, and here's his information. If you want to get in touch with him, definitely. If you're fixing and flipping properties right now, Ryan can definitely help with that, and you can reach him through Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn and Twitter. He can. You can find him Ryan Garcilazo or the real rehabdepot.com. You can see some of the things that he's doing and how he can help you, move forward with your business. Okay, so definitely check out his training too. Absolutely awesome. I don't think there is nothing like that out there. I think he came out with a great idea that nobody has done before. So definitely check him out and let me know. Let me know what you think. Okay. So now, if you want to get in touch with me, here's my information. You can get in touch with me through social media as well. Of course, I'm very active through Facebook and LinkedIn. Instagram, I'm there, and Twitter too. But I'm the most active through Facebook, so that's where you can find me. You can get in touch with me. You can text me and send me any questions you have. Okay. And now I'm just going to give you a word of our sponsors. This podcast was sponsored by National Corporate Credit. National Corporate Credit is a company that now, look, I mean, investors, if you're, this goes directly to investors and business owners in general. Okay. If you, obviously, that a lot has changed in the last few years in the last few years, but a lot has changed in the last few weeks with COVID-19 crisis. And obviously, the lending industry is not different. The lending industry is suffering too, and private money lenders everywhere are asking you, the investors and the business owners out there, they're asking you for more skin in the game. And obviously, when you do that, I mean, there's takes a lot of people out there. It takes a lot of possibilities out of your hands, and National Corporate Credit can help with that. I'm part of National Corporate Credit, and we can help with that as well. So reach out to them because they have lines of credit right now, business lines of credit up to $150,000 at 0% interest. Okay, that you can utilize for your real estate. You can leverage for your fix and flips, your rehabs, your business expenses, anything that you need related to your real estate business. And also they have term loans. Term loans, they're longer term loans that are unsecured. But if you need liquidity on your business, that's what it does. It puts liquid money in your account in 7 to 14 days. Okay, so that's really something that you can utilize now with your deals. most of the private lenders now, like I said, they're asking you for more down payment. They're not covering 100% of your rehabs. So obviously, that puts a strain on that business, and we can help with that. Okay, business lines of credit and term loans for liquidity. Okay, give him a call, 847-220-7247, or go to getunsecuredcredit.com, and just set up an appointment to talk to them, and just see what they can do for you. Okay, so again, thank you very much. I appreciate everyone that watched this video live, this podcast live, and appreciating everybody that is going to watch this replay. Please like, share, comment, ask any questions you need. If you like me to ask our next guest any other things, I'm going to be back on Saturday. I'm going to be back on Saturday here with another real estate investor and project manager. And this guy is great at project managing, and he was doing that before, I believe, before he got into fix and flipping, and then he started doing his own projects, and of course, he blew it out of the park. So I'll see you Saturday again at 11 a.m. here in my Facebook page. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.